Okay, think about this. What if the single greatest limitation on your future success isn't about, you know, resources, it's not time, certainly not luck.
Hmm.
What if the real barrier is just a story you've been telling yourself about your own potential maybe since childhood?
And what if you could actually rewrite that story, like
Yeah,
starting right now?
exactly. That's the core idea we're diving into today. We've looked at some really transformative sources.
Yeah, we're examining the psychology and, importantly, the neuroscience behind this concept of mindset. And the research is pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
Your beliefs about your abilities, intelligence, talent, even personality, they aren't fixed. They're not set in stone.
Right. They're more like systems you can change, malleable.
Malleable systems, exactly.
So our mission here is to give you, the listener, kind of an operating manual for upgrading that mental software. We've broken it down into three main themes. First, we'll get into the sheer, almost biological power of belief itself. How your mindset is basically giving instructions to your nervous system.
Then second, we need to draw that sharp line between the fixed mindset and the growth mindset.
Yeah.
We've got some examples that really show how different the outcomes can be.
Okay.
And finally, the biological proof. Neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
This is the mechanism that shows change isn't just, a nice idea. It's literally how your brain is built to work.
The stakes here feel really high when you put it like that. Your mindset is like the translator for everything that happens to you.
Totally. It shapes your reality.
Yeah, it's the difference between someone hitting a huge setback and thinking, okay, proof I should quit, versus someone else seeing that same setback and thinking, okay, that's the specific feedback I needed for the next try.
It really is. It's like seeing a locked door. Do you turn back or do you pause, look closer, maybe check the hinges, wonder if they could, be removed?
Love that analogy. Okay, let's unpack this first piece then. Mindset isn't abstract, it's physical.
Right. The sources we looked at are really clear on this. Mindsets aren't just opinions you hold. They are, in a very real sense, instructions. They tell your nervous system where to put resources, what to pay attention to, how much effort to expend.
So if your internal program is running on fixed, like stop when it gets hard to protect yourself,
then your brain circuits will actually do that. They'll pull resources away from stuff that feels too effortful, too challenging.
But if you're running the growth program,
difficulty becomes the cue. It signals mobilize, build new connections, and that genuinely changes the physical reality of what you can actually achieve.
Wow. Okay, maybe the clearest story that shows this historically is Roger Bannister. The 4-minute mile.
Oh, definitely. For decades, literally decades before 1954, experts, doctors, physiologists, trainers, they were convinced the human body couldn't break 4 minutes for the mile.
I thought it was physically impossible, right? Like your lungs would burst or something.
Yeah. Or your heart would explode. It was treated as a physical law. Or, that's what everyone believed, it became this huge psychological barrier.
Until Bannister did it.
May 1954, cold, drizzly day. 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds. And the crucial part isn't just that he did it.
It's what happened next.
Exactly. The physical limits hadn't changed overnight, but the belief about those limits shattered. And within weeks, someone else broke 4 minutes. Within a year, dozens had.
That's incredible. Same conditions, same human physiology, but the collective belief system just got completely rewritten.
Yeah, it underlines that quote you often see. Boundaries are often just mental agreements we've made, masquerading as physical laws.
Okay, but that's elite athletics. How does this apply more broadly? You mentioned Dr. Aaliyah Crumb's research.
Yes, at Stanford. This work is fascinating because it shows mindset directly changing measurable physical outcomes in everyday situations.
The hotel housekeeper study, tell us about that one. That was a real aha moment for me when I read it.
Okay, so Crum worked with hotel housekeepers. These women do physically demanding work all day long, right?
Yeah, lots of lifting, bending, walking.
But interestingly, they often didn't think of themselves as getting exercise. So Crum split them into two groups. One group, she simply told them, hey, your daily work actually meets the Surgeon General's guidelines for healthy physical activity. Just gave them that information.
And the other group?
The control group got no information. No change in their actual behavior. No change in workload for either group. Just a change in framing for one group.
Okay, so what happened?
Within just 1 month, the group that believed their work was exercise, the ones who got that mindset intervention showed significant physiological changes. Lower blood pressure, lower body mass index, a noticeable drop in body fat percentage.
Wow, with no change in what they were actually doing.
Exactly. Their bodies responded to the perception of exercise, not just the physical actions themselves. The belief changed the biology.
That really shifts how you think about health, doesn't it? It's not just mind over matter. The mind is actively directing the matter.
And it gets even wilder with nutrition. Crumb's team did another study with milkshakes. Give everyone the exact same 380-calorie milkshake.
Okay.
But they labeled them differently. One label said indulgent, 620 calories. The other said sensible, low-fat, 140 calories. Remember, they were actually identical.
Sneaky. So what were they measuring?
They tracked ghrelin. That's the hunger hormone. Tells your brain if you're full or hungry, right?
Right.
So after drinking the shake labeled indulgent, people's ghrelin levels plummeted. Their bodies basically registered, whoa, major calories were full. Deep satiety.
Even though it was the same shake.
Even though it was the same shake. And after drinking the one labeled sensible, their ghrelin levels stayed much higher. Their bodies acted like they hadn't had much.
So the body literally followed the story on the label, not the actual calories.
Pretty much. It suggests our beliefs, our expectations about what we consume can directly influence our metabolism, our hormonal response. It's your internal instruction set again.
Okay, so if belief is that powerful, and maybe we've been running, let's say, suboptimal software, how does the brain actually let us change? What's the mechanism?
That's where neuroplasticity comes in. It's such a key concept. The old idea of the brain being hardwired like concrete. It's just wrong.
It's more like plastic or clay.
Exactly. Fluid, dynamic, adaptable. Every time you choose a new thought, practice a new skill, take a new action, you are physically reshaping your brain's connections. You're sculpting your neural architecture.
So you're not fighting against a fixed system. You're actually using the system the way it was designed for change.
Think of it like paths in a forest. The paths you use often become wide, clear highways. Those are strengthened synapses, the little gaps where signals jump between neurons. Practice makes those signals jump faster, more reliably.
Okay, what about myelin? I remember reading that acts like insulation.
Yes. Myelin is this fatty sheath that wraps around the axons, the long wires carrying the signals. When you practice something correctly, specific cells are triggered to add more layers of myelin to those active pathways.
Like turbo boosting the connection?
Precisely. It makes the signal transmission much faster and more efficient. And this process happens throughout your life. It's proof that your core beliefs, your skills, they aren't fossils. They're living networks you can actively rewire and improve.
That's genuinely liberating to know. Okay, so if our brains are built for this kind of growth, what holds so many people back? I guess that brings us squarely to the fixed versus growth mindset distinction. How do we even know which operating system we're running most of the time?
It really boils down to how you interpret two fundamental things: talent and effort. The fixed mindset operates on the belief that your basic qualities, intelligence, character, creative ability, are just fixed traits. You've got a certain amount, and that's that. You either have it or you don't.
So in that mindset, every task, every performance becomes stressful, like a test of how much you have.
Exactly. It's a litmus test, proving your inherent worth. Mistakes are painful because they feel like a final verdict. See? You're not smart enough.
And effort. Effort feels kind of bad in a fixed mindset.
Yeah, crucially, effort often implies a lack of natural ability. The thinking goes, if I have to try really hard, I must not be naturally talented or smart. True geniuses don't need effort, right? That's the myth.
Which explains why people stuck in that mindset might stick to things they're already good at, to keep proving their existing strengths rather than risking failure on something new and challenging.
Precisely. They want to look smart more than they want to learn. Now, the growth mindset is the complete opposite. It starts from the belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication, through hard work, through strategy.
So failure isn't a verdict.
Nope. Failure is information. It's feedback for development. It just tells you what to work on next. And effort. Effort is seen as the key ingredient, the thing that activates potential and turns it into accomplishment. It's the path to mastery.
The sources use those student stories, Maya and Jordan, to really highlight this difference in action, right?
Yeah, they're great examples. Maya operates from that fixed mindset. Her main goal is protecting her identity as the smart girl. So when she hits a really tough math exam, she kind of freezes.
She doesn't want to ask for help.
Right. Asking for help or even joining a study group would shatter that illusion for her that she's effortlessly brilliant. So she avoids the very things that would help her learn.
Her need to appear smart gets in the way of actually getting smarter.
Perfectly put. Contrast that with Jordan. Growth mindset. Takes the same tough exam, gets a C-, but he doesn't see it as I'm dumb.
He sees it as data.
Exactly. It's a signal. Okay, this is where I need to focus. So he forms a study group, changes how he studies, asks questions, and later on he pulls a B+, then an A.
And you see how their paths just diverge over time, not because one started out smarter, but purely based on how they approach the challenge, their operating system.
And get that this isn't just psychological. It has measurable physical effects. When someone with a fixed mindset encounters difficulty, it triggers a threat response. Studies show higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. Working memory actually decreases. Persistence drops off.
Their brain is literally interpreting the challenge as dangerous, like a threat to their ego, their identity.
Seems like it. It's preparing for fight or flight, shutting down higher level thinking. Whereas for the growth mindset person facing the same difficulty, you see sustained curiosity, less physiological stress.
The task isn't easier for them, but their interpretation is different. It's not threat, it's opportunity or puzzle.
Exactly. And that ability to stay engaged, to maintain focus during the struggle, that's the growth mindset's real power. That's where the learning happens.
Okay, so we know belief is biological. We know the goal is that growth mindset. What are the first concrete things someone listening can actually do today to start shifting their own software? It seems like it has to start with noticing that internal dialogue.
Absolutely. That inner narrator, it's running constantly. You give a presentation, it doesn't go perfectly. The fixed voice jumps in. See? You're just not a good speaker. You always mess up.
Whereas the growth voice
Might say something like, okay, the opening didn't quite land. I need to practice that hook more, maybe get some feedback on my pacing. Same event, totally different interpretation and action plan.
So the first tool is maybe language, changing how we talk to ourselves.
Yes, what the sources call linguistic alchemy, especially ditching those really absolute words like always and never. They slam the door shut.
And the most famous example of this is adding yet.
That's the one. So simple, so powerful. Changing, I'm not good at managing my time, to I'm not good at managing my time yet. It does this amazing psychological flip.
How so?
It turns a fixed statement about your identity, I'm bad at this, into a temporary statement about where you are on a learning curve. I am not good at this moment. It keeps the possibility of improvement open.
And you mentioned earlier, this isn't just positive thinking fluff. There's brain science behind this yet.
Oh, absolutely. Neuroscientists have actually scanned brains and found that when people use fixed negative language like I can't do this, it tends to activate a part of the brain called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. That's like the brain's panic button error detector.
Okay.
But when you add yet, or use more growth-oriented language, how can I approach this? Blood flow literally shifts toward the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex.
Which is?
That's your executive function hub. Planning, strategy, problem solving. You're physically shifting your brain's resources from panic mode to plan mode just by changing a word.
Wow. Okay, that is the physical change right there. So language is tool one. What's tool two? It can't just be about words, right? Effort must come in somewhere.
It does, but this is crucial. We need to challenge the myth that just any effort, raw, undirected effort, is automatically good. You can spend hours grinding away at something inefficiently.
Spinning your wheels, getting frustrated.
Exactly. And that can actually harden a fixed mindset. You think, see, I tried really hard and I still failed. I just don't have the talent.
So just putting in hours isn't the answer. What kind of effort is?
It needs to be strategic effort. The term often used is deliberate practice. It's not just about showing up, it's about the quality of how you engage. And the sources point to three essential elements for effort to actually build skill and change your brain.
Okay, what are the three?
First, you need a clearly defined stretch goal. Something that's in the Goldilocks zone, not too easy, not too hard.
Just beyond your current comfort level.
Right. Challenging enough that you make mistakes, you have to focus intensely, but not so hard that you just get overwhelmed and shut down. If it's too easy, your brain doesn't adapt. If it's way too hard, you trigger that fixed mindset panic.
Okay, Goldilocks goal. What's second?
Immediate informative feedback. This is critical. Effort without knowing what worked and what didn't is just flailing. You need specific information right away on your performance so you can adjust.
And third?
Continuous refinement. Based on that feedback, you constantly tweak your approach, always pushing slightly beyond your current ability level. It's a cycle. Stretch, get feedback, adjust, stretch again.
So if you're not doing those three things, specific stretch goal, quick feedback, constant adjusting you might be working hard, but you're not necessarily getting those myelin boosts, those real adaptations.
You're likely not optimizing neuroplasticity, no. You might just be collecting stress miles, as one source put it.
That swimmer example, Sarah Elder, really illustrates this difference between raw effort and strategic effort, doesn't it?
It's perfect. Sarah was training like crazy, logging massive yardage in the pool, following that old more is better idea, but she'd hit a plateau.
So tons of effort, but no improvement.
Right. Her coach, who had more of a growth mindset approach, looked closely and realized most of those laps were what he called junk laps. Just swimming tired, without specific focus or feedback, effort without strategy.
So what did they change? Did she train even more?
No. They actually cut her yardage significantly, by about half. But they replaced the junk laps with very specific targeted interval sets at race pace. And crucially, they added immediate, detailed video feedback using underwater cameras.
Ah, so less quantity, but much higher quality of practice. Hitting all three elements.
Okay.
Stretchal, race pace, immediate feedback, video, continuous refinement.
Exactly. She was doing less overall work, but the work she was doing was intensely focused on building the specific neural circuits needed for speed. The quality of the neural adaptation shot way up.
And the result?
She dropped 2 full seconds in her 100-meter butterfly, which is huge at that elite level, and made the national finals. She didn't train harder in the traditional sense. She trained smarter. She built much more targeted neural adaptations because the effort was strategic.
That's the proof right there. Strategic, feedback-rich effort is how you leverage the brain's design for growth.
It really is. The growth mindset isn't just nicer, it's simply a more effective way to operate.
What a journey. Okay, so just to quickly recap the big takeaways. Mindset isn't just attitude, it's biology. Our beliefs genuinely shape our performance and even our physiology.
Yeah, ability isn't fixed, it's malleable.
And driving that growth comes down to, 1, the language we use with ourselves, finding that yet, and 2, not just raw effort, but strategic, deliberate practice with good feedback. You really do hold the chisel.
You do. It connects right back to that first idea. You're the author of your story, and you can revise it.
So as everyone listening starts to integrate this, maybe tries out adding yet, or thinks about making their effort more strategic, what's the final thought we should leave them with? Something to chew on.
I think the fundamental choice you face, day in and day out, isn't really about succeeding or failing on any single task. It's about your process. When the next challenge pops up, learning something new, tackling a tough project, maybe even just trying to build a healthier habit.
Yeah.
The choice is, will you default to protecting your current identity? Will you avoid the risk, the vulnerability, the potential embarrassment of not knowing or failing?
Or will you choose to expand that identity? Will you lean into the effort, actively seek out the specific informative feedback, even if it stings a little, because that's the fuel for growth.
Yeah.
That choice right there, that's the essence of living beyond your current limits. Protect or expand.
To get more details about mindset, the new psychology of success beyond limits, click the below link to get the book. Subscribe us to get more content like this.